The Cold War, a time of tension, a time of fear. Two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union, locked in an ideological struggle. Capitalism versus communism, freedom versus control. The fate of the world hung in the balance. For decades, the threat of nuclear annihilation loomed large. Proxy wars raged across continents. Espionage and propaganda were commonplace. But what if the outcome had been different? What if the Soviet Union had emerged victorious? The very fabric of our world would be different. The political map would be redrawn. The global economy would operate under different rules. Our culture, our values, our very understanding of freedom would be shaped by the shadow of Soviet victory. This is not a tale of celebration, nor is it a simple condemnation. It is an exploration of a world that might have been. A world where the Soviet Union dictated the terms of global order. A world where the West struggled to find its place in a new, unfamiliar reality.
Imagine a map of the world draped in crimson. The Soviet Union, emboldened by its triumph, casts a long shadow. Western Europe, weakened and divided, falls under Soviet influence. Communist parties rise to power, some through elections, others through more forceful means. NATO, the bulwark of the West, crumbles from within. In Asia, the outcome of the Korean and Vietnam Wars swings in favor of communist forces. The domino theory, once a fear, becomes a reality. Countries across Southeast Asia align themselves with the Soviet bloc, fearing retribution for any opposition. The non-aligned movement, once a beacon of hope for nations seeking an alternative to the superpowers, finds itself increasingly pressured to choose sides. Many, out of necessity or ideology, lean towards the Soviet sphere. The world is no longer bipolar, but the Soviet Union stands as the dominant force. The global economy undergoes a seismic shift. The Soviet Union, with its command economy, dictates the terms of trade for much of the world. Eastern Europe becomes an economic satellite, its industries geared towards serving the needs of the Soviet Union. The West, facing economic isolation and resource constraints, struggles to adapt. The principles of free trade and open markets are challenged as never before. Some nations embrace socialist policies in an attempt to survive, leading to internal divisions and economic uncertainty. The United States, once the engine of global capitalism, finds itself on the defensive. Its economy, weakened by years of Cold War spending and facing a world increasingly hostile to its economic model, enters a period of prolonged stagnation. The American dream, once a symbol of hope and opportunity, begins to lose its luster. Life behind the Iron Curtain is marked by a fierce struggle for cultural dominance. Culture becomes a battleground. The Soviet Union, through its vast propaganda machine, seeks to reshape the world in its image. Socialist realism becomes the dominant artistic style, promoting the virtues of hard work, collectivism, and unwavering loyalty to the state. Dissenting voices are silenced. Freedom of expression is curtailed. Education systems are overhauled to instill Soviet ideology in the minds of the young. The West, while still clinging to its democratic ideals, finds its cultural influence waning. The flow of information is tightly controlled. Access to Western media, music and literature is restricted. The internet, if it exists in this alternate reality, is heavily censored, a tool for surveillance and control rather than a platform for free expression. A generation grows up behind the digital Iron Curtain, their worldview shaped by the Soviet narrative. From Sputnik to supercomputers, technology takes on a distinct Soviet tilt. The space race, once a symbol of American ingenuity, takes a different turn. The Soviet Union, having already achieved early victories with Sputnik and Yuri Gagarin, continues to dominate space exploration. The focus of scientific research shifts. Military applications take precedence, driven by the constant need to maintain the upper hand in a world still wary of conflict. The development of nuclear weapons continues, casting a long shadow over any hope for lasting peace. The Soviets pour resources into cybernetics, artificial intelligence and automation, seeking to create a more efficient and controllable society. The lines between man and machine begin to blur, raising profound ethical questions that are often ignored in the pursuit of technological supremacy.